Today I'm going over top 10 cruise tips generated by AI. Is AI going to do a good job with this? We'll see. If it does a good job, maybe eventually I'll do one with a little more complex question than just top 10 tips. So let's dive into it and see how AI does with some general cruise tips. All right, first one, let's go. Let's see, it's generating what are the top 10 must know cruise tips. All right, the first one says, if you're planning a cruise, these are our top 10 must cruise tips. Oh. All right, we're reading these out right off the bat. I haven't seen these beforehand. Book early and best for the best deals and cabins. The best prices and cabin choices go to those who book early, often 6 to 12 months in advance. Last minute deals exist, but they come with limited options. This is very true. A few years ago, last minute deals used to be the thing to do. But now often you have to book far in advance. Chat GPT says 6 to 12 months out, but actually shoot for further in advance than that. The further out you go, the better deal you are going to get. And even 6 months is kind of pushing it. For example, I have a client right now that's trying to sell 4 months from now, and they need an accessible room. So accessible rooms are already limited, and with the time frame they're looking to sell, only can find 3 cabins that have accessible rooms on 2 different cruise lines, Carnival and Royal Caribbean. That's how tight it is. And only one of them actually works for them. So if the last 6 months is going to be very restrictive. If you need an accessible cabin, it's going to be virtually almost impossible. Especially if you need some other stipulations with that in same type cabins or connecting rooms. It's going to be next to impossible under 6 months. I have people booking 7 months out and suddenly having trouble to find connecting cabins on specific dates. So keep that in mind. If you want the most options possible, book far in advance. I would say over a year. 6 months to 12 months, it's not impossible, but that's when it starts getting very limited. But not too limiting. Under 6 months, yeah, in this economy, it's going to be tough. But like I said, there are some great last minute deals, and I've seen some great last minute deals out there. But you're going to get what you get. You have to be ready to pack up your bags and just go on a cruise. Works for some people, but not the majority of people. But if that's you, booking last minute can still be a great deal. Just don't hold your breath that you're going to find one. All right, let's go to the next one here. It says choose cabins wisely. Avoid cabins near nightclubs, elevators, under the pool deck to minimize noise. If you're prone to sickness, opt for midship, lower deck. This is self-explanatory. I agree with this 100%. So for example, I've had cabins in those locations before. One of them was under the casino, which at the time of booking it, I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. I could hear some noise in the middle of the night throughout the day. Didn't really bother me that much up until my wife had a migraine. And then it bothered us because it was midnight. Casino music was still going. She had a migraine. She could not sleep. She was miserable. So some people don't mind the loud noise, but if you're someone who gets disturbed by noise easily or gets prone to migraines, you are definitely want to avoid those cabins. I've done guaranteed cabins before, which means you pay less price and you get a guaranteed stateroom in that cabin category. For example, interior room, but they choose it for you. So it could be under a casino, under the pool deck. On my most recent cruise in Royal Caribbean, mine was under the dining area. So that can get loud sometimes, but not really. So it didn't bother me. So sometimes you get very good deals, or you can get upgraded to the high-end version of the room. So maybe a spa interior room, or one of those lucky few rooms that is an interior room, but happens to have an ocean view. All right, let's go to the next one, see what we got. Arrive a day early. Flights get delayed. Avoid missing your cruise by avoiding to a port city a day before departure. I do this all the time. I live in Texas, and if I sell out of Galveston, I drive the same day. In worst case scenario, I can find an alternative way to get there. However, if I'm going out of Miami or any other port where I have to fly to, I'm definitely going a day early. On several trips I've had, my plane get delayed, sometimes for a few hours. And one time, I got delayed to the very next day. And if flying the same day, those few hours can make a crucial difference between making the ship or missing it. And if you got in a situation to where it was next day availability, yeah, you missed it. So be sure to fly in the day before. And I know some people who actually do 2 days before when it's the holiday season. That's a little extreme in my opinion, but hey, better safe than sorry. More power to you. But definitely do not recommend flying the day of. I've seen even several YouTubers who have done this and pay the price. The next one, 4. Pack a carry-on bag. Your luggage may take hours to be delivered to your cabin. Pack essentials like medication, swimsuits, chargers, and change of clothing in a small bag. That's what I do. Usually when I travel with my family, for just me and my wife, I take my backpack, a large backpack. What I do is put in a change of swimwear in there, so that way if I get on the ship, I can swim immediately if you want to. Any important medication, as well as any valuables that I don't want risk getting lost. If I keep it on my person, it's not getting lost versus the off chance there is a small possibility that your luggage could get lost delivered to your room. Doesn't happen often, but that has happened before to people. So I definitely recommend following that one for sure. All right, let's go to the next one. 5. Don't overpack. Cruise cabins are small. Bring a mix and match outfits and check dress codes for formal nights. This one, I guess it depends on the kind of person you are. Me, my family, my wife loves to plan out every single outfit of the day. We color coordinate and we often overpack, which on one hand can be seen as a downside because we pack more than we need. But at the same time, unless you're flying your destination, you can bring as much luggage as you want to the cruise ship. Then once you take it out of your car and give it to the port people, so if you overpack, you have too many bags, someone else is pretty much taking care of it from that point. So if I'm going to Galveston, I'll probably do overpack more than normal. If I'm flying, it's less of an issue because then you're restricted to what the airline restrictions are. Usually £50 per bag, and you pay per bag you take, so then it kind of gets cost prohibitive, and that kind of prevents you from overpacking like that. But personally, I'd rather overpack than underpack. But that's just my personal opinion. A lot of people say bring less than you think you need, and I'm the opposite. I bring more just because you never know what's going to happen. I don't know, maybe I do more swimming than anticipated. Maybe I drop something on my shirt and it can get very expensive or take a while for the cruise to do your laundry there. And not every cruise line and every cruise ship have self-service laundry. So if you do go on a cruise with self-service laundry, then it's not that big of a deal to not overpack. Just something to keep in mind. All right, let's see what else Chat GPT has to say. If I could log into the phone correctly. All right, number 6. Download the Cruise Line app. Most cruise lines have an app for daily schedules, dining reservations, messaging, and tracking onboard expenses. Yep, nothing else to add on to that one. That's perfect. Number 8, know what's included and what's not. Drinks, Wi-Fi, gratuities are often extra. Consider drink packages, Wi-Fi bundles if you often use them. This is very true as well. Some cruise lines, like Virgin Voyages, include basic Wi-Fi, sodas, which are things that most other cruise lines do not include the price. Oh, Virgin Voyages also includes gratuities as well. And Carnival, Princess, Royal Caribbean, etc. Most cruise lines, you have to pay for that separately. However, some cruise lines offer special packages like Princess, have other package options, which include some of those for an extra fee. If you bundle those features together, you save money rather than paying them individually. And with Royal Caribbean specifically, if you buy some of the things on Black Friday, there's a special discount, which Carnival, copy Royal Caribbean on that one, put your drink packages, Wi-Fi, and other pre-purchases on Black Friday sales like Royal Caribbean does. I love you, Carnival, but my man, Carnival, Royal Caribbean got you beat on add-ons, hands down. Take note, because Royal Caribbean got you in a few spots. Let's see what's number 9. Bring a non-surge protected power strip. Cabins have limited outlets. A cruise-friendly power strip without surge protection helps you charge all your devices. This is true. However, I do want to notate one cruise line, top of my head, that has a little bit different requirements for those non-surge protected outlets. For Royal Caribbean, non-surge protected strips no longer acceptable. Now it has to be something with a USB block. And I don't think I have mine with me today. Okay, I end up finding it after all. So Royal Caribbean won't let you take a traditional power strip. They now only allow some that have the USB port. So something like this to where you have multiple USB plugs in there. They allow these. But if there are ones that have the other side of this, that have a bunch of the 2-prong plugs all the way down of it, or even has a single additional 2-prong plug on there in addition to USBs, they won't allow that no more. They didn't say why, but there was a short period of time where Royal Caribbean ships kept catching fire. So I suspect that may have something to do about that. So keep that in mind. That is true. With the exception of Royal Caribbean, they have a little more stipulation on that. So far, the first 9, Chat GPT has been pretty much spot on. And number 10, the last one. Let's see how you do. Planning your excursions wisely. Book your excursions through the cruise line for convenience and safety. But third-party vendors can offer more unique experiences at lower prices. Bonus tip. Always keep your passport, ID, and cruise document handy. See, this one is probably the one that's furthest from the truth on there. While it is good advice in general, you can book third-party excursions for a cheaper price, get maybe a same experience or better experience. That part is spot on. However, there's a little caveat on that is if you book a excursion through the cruise line, we'll make sure you get back on the ship. So if something happens and your car breaks down on that excursion, if you booked it through the cruise line, they could wait for you. They will arrange transportation, and worst case scenario, they will get you back on the ship somehow, if it's another port. But that third scenario is the one that's least likely, because most of the time, it's easier for them and cheaper for them to just wait at port, pick you up, arrange for transportation to get you back on the ship. Versus if you do a third-party one, there's not that same guarantee. I'm sure the vendor will try their best to get you back on the ship, but it's the cruise lines are less likely to wait for you. The second one as well is, it says, let me pull it back up again. Second part, the bonus tip, always keep your passport, ID, and cruise documents handy. Well, on one hand, that is good advice because you're going to want that on you while you travel. However, most cruise lines on the documentation will tell you not to take your passport. All you really need is your crew card. However, most cruise lines will tell you not to take your passport. Most of the time, they'll take your cruise card. It may be from some form of ID, but typically they want you to keep your documents like your passports, birth certificate, locked up in a safe in your room, the one that they provide. And I'll see if I can happen to find one of these messages that I've seen before. So I believe I took a video and or picture of this when I seen it, so that would get the exact wording. But every cruise line is going to have some kind of variation of this, because the idea behind that is if you do get left behind by the ship for whatever reason, you don't show up, they will send someone to your room to look for your documents. They will leave your passport and other travel documents at the port authority for you to pick up if you miss the ship. That way you're not stranded without your documents. And most cruise lines also will have their contact information for those port authorities. So always take a screenshot of this before I leave the ship. It's going to be on the app or some kind of paper they leave in your room, giving you the details of the next destination, the port that you're going to be at. But I would advise taking a look at that paper and follow whatever instructions it gives you, whether it be what Chat GPT said or something else that the cruise line said. But I would highly recommend to follow whatever the cruise line says. What Chat GPT said sounds good, which is not bad information, by the way, just not recommended by the cruise line, just in case they don't want you to lose your documents overseas. But personally, I would follow what the cruise line thing says. Worst case scenario, take a picture of your document so at least you have a copy of those documents. So that's it, the top 10 cruise tips that you must know by Chat GPT. I would say Chat GPT knocked this out the ballpark. There's a few little caveats on there, but I mean, not much more than we get from advice from anybody else. So maybe next time I'm going to do a little more complex question about cruises and see how ChatGPT does then. If you have any ideas what's the next thing I should ask ChatGPT when it comes to cruising, let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see y'all next time.